One of Israel's most famous heroes was a man known as Kamel Amin Thaabet, but his real name was Eli Cohen, the greatest spy in Israeli history. How did he manage to gain the trust of a hostile nation, feed its secrets to his homeland for more than 3 years, and ultimately contribute to the downfall of the Soviet Union? Before diving into the incredible story of Eli Cohen, we must first discuss Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency. Mossad, founded on December 13, 1949, has been involved in numerous covert operations to collect intelligence and combat terrorism. Perhaps you've heard of some of their feats, such as tracking down and eliminating the leaders of Black September, the terrorist group responsible for the Munich Olympic massacre of 1972. Mossad has secretly conducted hundreds of operations across the globe. Among the elite agents of this top-tier organization, Eli Cohen was regarded as one of the best. But who exactly was Eli Cohen, and how did an ordinary man in his 30s become Mossad's most valuable asset? Eli Cohen was born in 1924 to Syrian Jewish parents living in Egypt. He remained in Egypt to complete his engineering degree while also coordinating Zionist activities. But by 1956, the rise of anti-Semitism in Egypt made life unbearable for Jews. Cohen and his family relocated to Israel, where he married Nadia, an Iraqi Jew, and together they had 3 children. In 1957, the Israeli Defense Forces recruited him for an office job as a counter-carpentry analyst. Fluent in Arabic, French, and English, with a photographic memory, Cohen quickly caught Mossad's attention. In 1960, Mossad's director, Mayor Amit, was searching for a special agent to send to Damascus. Amit stumbled upon Cohen's file and decided to interview him. Cohen was eager to join Mossad, even though he had no idea what his mission would entail. How did Cohen prepare for the perilous world of espionage? For 6 months, Cohen trained in secret. His instructor, Yitzhak, focused on enhancing Cohen's photographic memory. Cohen learned to recall every detail of objects on a table after just a second's glance. He mastered speaking Arabic with a Syrian accent and quickly became proficient in identifying models of tanks, aircraft, and artillery. He was also trained in the use of secret communication devices. With his training complete, Cohen was ready for the field. Assuming the false identity of Kamel Amin Thaabet, a conservative Syrian businessman living in Argentina, Cohen set off on his mission in 1961. After a brief stop in Zurich to change his passport, he arrived in Argentina under his new identity. Throwing extravagant parties and mingling with high-ranking Syrian officials, Cohen began gathering intelligence by pretending to be drunk while subtly listening to the conversations around him. This approach allowed him to grow close to influential figures, including Amin al-Hafiz, a rising political star who would later become the president of Syria. In 1962, Cohen relocated to Damascus, aligning himself with the Ba'ath Party, which advocated for a unified Arab world. The Ba'ath Party seized power in a coup in 1963, placing Cohen's old acquaintance Amin al-Hafiz in the presidency. Al-Hafiz trusted Thaabet so much that he even considered appointing him as his Minister of Defense. Cohen, now well established among Syria's elite, covertly transmitted daily messages to Israel from a hidden radio transmitter in his home. His residence, conveniently located near Syrian military headquarters, allowed him to gather crucial information. Could anyone suspect that this wealthy businessman was, in fact, a spy? For 3 years, Cohen transmitted hundreds of reports to Mossad, containing vital military and government intelligence. His information was instrumental in shaping Israeli military strategies, most notably during the Six-Day War of 1967. Cohen's ability to memorize and replicate military maps enabled Israel to identify the locations of Syrian bunkers and strongholds, including those in the Golan Heights. This critical intelligence allowed Israel to secure a decisive victory and take control of the Golan Heights. But how did Syria's defeat in the Six-Day War contribute to the collapse of the Soviet Union? At the time, the Soviet Union was heavily invested in the Middle East, supporting Syria both economically and militarily to secure valuable oil resources and strategic positioning. However, Syria's repeated military failures weakened the Soviet foothold in the region. As US influence in the Middle East grew, Soviet military credibility crumbled. The shift in global dynamics, compounded by the Soviet-Afghan War, stretched the Soviet Union's resources thin, ultimately leading to its dissolution on December 26, 1991. Could anyone have predicted that a spy like Cohen would play a role in altering global history? From 1962 to 1964, Cohen returned to Israel only 3 times to see his family. On his final trip in 1964, he expressed concerns about Syria's new intelligence chief, who he suspected did not trust him. Cohen requested to be pulled from his mission, but Mossad persuaded him to return for one last stint, promising it would be the final one. Meanwhile, the Syrian military, increasingly paranoid, began searching for an internal mole. Did Cohen sense that his time was running out? In January 1965, the Syrian military began using Soviet surveillance equipment to monitor unauthorized transmissions. Despite imposing communication blackouts, the military detected one remaining signal. The source was traced back to Thaabet's home. 4 officers raided his house and caught Cohen in the act of transmitting a message to Israel. Arrested, tortured, and put on trial without a chance to defend himself, Cohen was sentenced to death. Even in the face of relentless beatings, he refused to reveal any additional information. Before his execution, Cohen met with a Syrian rabbi and wrote a final letter to his wife. In the letter, he wrote, "I ask you not to mourn the past, but to look to the future. I send you my last kisses. Pray for my soul." On May 18, 1965, Eli Cohen was publicly hanged in Damascus. He had risked his life every day for 4 years, gathering critical intelligence that shaped Israel's military success. His body was never returned to Israel, and the Syrian government moved his remains multiple times to prevent retrieval. Eli Cohen's sacrifice has made him an enduring hero in Israel. Schools, streets, and parks across the country bear his name. His bravery, loyalty, and the vital information he provided were crucial to Israel's defense. Israelis affectionately refer to him as our man in Damascus. His selfless actions continue to inspire generations of Jews to serve their country. On the 40th anniversary of his death, former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon described Cohen as a fighter who became a legend when he entered the lion's den alone. Could anyone ever forget the legacy of such a man? This was Mystic Shadow,